Hello, 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 and welcome to another exciting episode of Zoom Hope Live. I have been really waiting on this program here from last month. I've been marking the date and I've been marking the time, and we are here. Gonna be excited. It's really gonna be excited. You are going to like what we have for you today. So, London,
Yes.
what do you have for us today?
I mean, not only are they going to like what we have today, but the people requested today's program, right? We did a little something last season, and the people were saying, we want more of that. We need to hear more from these people. And so these people that will be on our panel, that are on our panel today, they brought some special guests. And
Yes.
so I just want to invite all of our viewers to share, whether you're watching on YouTube or if you're watching on Facebook. Go ahead and share it to the different pages that you hold membership to, the different groups and things like that. If you have family members that don't like Facebook, that's not their thing, go ahead and share the YouTube link so they can get on YouTube and be blessed by today's discussion. Today's discussion will be surrounding entrepreneurship. And the topic of entrepreneurship will have a special twist because it will be entrepreneurship family edition. And so the individuals today have their families with them. And so I'm really excited just to hear how these families work together, support each other in their endeavors to own their own business and to be successful in doing so. Larry?
Okay. I think you forget one little thing.
What's
We
that?
want them to also do what?
Ask questions. So make
Yes.
sure that if you have any questions that you may have for our panelists, we have some questions that they are already prepared to answer. But as we're talking in the comment section of Facebook or YouTube, if you have a question for our panelists, if there's something that you want to know on this particular topic of entrepreneurship and the family, please go ahead and submit that question. We will see it. And so we will filter some of those and decide which ones we're going to ask. So please submit your questions, and your comments are also welcome. And so there's so many of you who come week after week and you're blessed by these conversations. You know how it goes. You share, you submit questions, and you all can have a conversation in the comment section, even amongst yourselves. We're watching and we're paying attention. Welcome to Zoom Hope Live.
All right, so I already see that persons are in. Our number one guest, Colin Major, he's in. And I say, glad you are on YouTube Live. Yes, we are. Okay, so I know you're wondering who are the guests. Well, here they are. I'm going to start with the Johnsons. We have the Johnsons back here with us. The last time we have Adéniké, and she is back with us again on Zoom Hope Live Family Edition. I want you now to just tell us a little bit about your family. Please, the Johnson's family, this is your time. Please introduce yourself to us.
I'm Christine, and I'm 14 years old, and I'm the owner of Nourish, which is a beauty and skin company.
I'm Ethan, and I am 9 years old, and I'm the owner of Casual, which is a t-shirt company.
And I'm sorry, I lost my voice, but it's coming back. I'm Adéniké, and founder and business developer of Fiber, a plant-based co, and also train and mentor entrepreneurs, taking them from idea to actual functional businesses.
Yes, so a mentoring, so she mentors entrepreneurs. If you all didn't catch that, she has her own advisory business. She has her own restaurant. She is the mother of these two beautiful children, and her husband, who's not able to be with us today, he is in total support of everything that she's doing and that her children are doing, and they do it as a family. Also, today is what else is special about today, Pastor Larry?
It's your birthday, and guess what? We have some we have some surprise for you at the end, and we're gonna make sure you get some of that. But viewers, just check out the Johnsons. This is one of their business.
All right.
Yes. So if you just type in Ask Adéniké, then you on the different platforms. She has a website. You can find her on YouTube, on Facebook. Then you'll be able to subscribe and learn more about the different things that she has going on. And
Okay.
next, am I continuing? Okay, so our next guest for today is going to be the Hinds family. And so the Hinds family, they're here. They have their different businesses as well. And so welcome Hinds family. If you all can just introduce yourselves individually and let us know the businesses that you all do together and the things that you have going on individually as well.
Sure. Okay, so I'm Kymone, and this is my family, the Hinds family, and together we all have the Hinds Legacy Group, where we work together to help each other to build up our businesses. I work with ideas to life, and as it says, I coach and consult with people so they can bring their ideas to life.
All right.
And I'll let my wife introduce herself, and then we'll go down with the teens.
Hi, I'm Christiaan, and I'm a main supporter of the businesses that you'll hear in just a few moments.
Important.
So my name is Joelle. I am 14, and I have a press-on nail business called Slay All Day Nails, and I'm working on launching a new business called Slay Bay Beauty.
All right.
Hi, my name is Janaya, and I own Slay It Proud, which is an educational and apparel company that teaches people about Black history.
Okay.
I'm Jaden. I'm 17, and I edit Janaya's Black Friday videos.
All right. You the background. You the person in the background. That's important. Making sure everything looks good, smooth, all of that.
They never told you Black is beautiful. Black is beautiful. Yeah. Man, you're looking so lovely. Like that family. All right. So London, let the viewers check out one of the business from the Hinds at this moment.
At this stage, the little boy is just like you. He's wondering what's going on, right? Like, why do you catch a fish this big, throw it back? So he goes over to the man. He says, "Excuse me, sir, I couldn't help but watch you as you were catching these fish and throwing them back. And I want to know why." The man says, "Young man, the reason I threw the fish back is because my frying pan is this small." All of us in here are smart people that you would think, of course, you can cook it in any pan, right? Just cut it up. But that's really the way it works for many of us with the things that we have we're working with. That the thing that limits us is our own belief. And so today, what we want to do is not just work on the mechanics of starting a business. I mean, you can find it online free. We're going to work on that, and how do we grow our belief? How do we get our frying pans to be a little bit bigger, right?
Okay. So now you have heard about the past two families, the Hinds and the Johnsons. Now we're going to introduce you to our next family, which, of course, that is the Sawyers. They are here with us, and we want you to just tell us a little bit about yourself, the Sawyers.
I'm Chris Sawyer, and my lovely wife, Nadine, and my two children, Jared and Elisa. We're the owners of Sunryse Information Management, a full-service record management providing company here in the Bahamas.
I am Nadine. I am working in the business as well. I am the VP of Finance in the business, and these are our children.
Hi, I'm Elisa. I'm 14, and there's really not much to.
You're the next owner. of the business.
Hi, I'm Jared. I'm 16, and I just pretty much go to school, and when I'm not at school, I help parents around with work. So.
All right, good stuff.
Okay. So I'm excited, and guess what? Now you're gonna check out a production from one of the biggest producer in the house and video editor, Alyssa. So this is one of their business. This is the the Sunryse information management, and just check. Okay. So, wow.
All right, I saw y'all grooving, in business together, happy, loving on each other. Yes, very good.
Wow.
And Alyssa tried to act like she's just there. She's just a wallflower. There's she doesn't do anything, but she put that video together. You did good.
Big time producer. All right.
Say it again, Larry.
London. I'm excited as much as the guest, and just take us into our first question to our panelists at this time.
Yes. So our first question for today. So oftentimes people say that hiring family members is a messy business, right? It's something that that will hurt your business, right? They say don't miss business with pleasure, right? And so you shouldn't hire your spouse. Your spouse shouldn't be in business with you. But all the families today have gone against that whole notion that hiring your family is a bad thing. All of your family members are fully involved and on board. And so my first question is, how does being in business with your family add additional complexity to your business? And if it does, please share how and what benefits also work. So what are the complexities to working with your family, and what are the things that add richness to working with your family? And let's see. So you all are like, who's supposed to go first? So So if the Hinds family, if you all can go first, that would be great. And then whoever wants to jump in after that, please do so.
Sure. So of course there will be some challenges working as a family because there are different personalities involved, different opinions and point of views, and different dynamics of relationship. But you learn to work through those, and they can also be a positive thing because as children are involved here, we use that as teaching points too to work through. Because when you're out there, like I work in the medical field as well. And so out and about in the world, you will deal with other personalities, other opinions, other trains of thoughts, but you still have to be able to work around it and express your own, and choose which direction you'll go. It's positive being a business with your family because you all have a common goal. You have a common viewpoint and you have a common endpoint. And so you learn to work with even the different personalities, views, and opinions to get to that endpoint. And it's also the bigger picture, you're learning to set up a legacy You're setting up a current legacy and a legacy in the future. You know, their legacy, the children's legacy, your name's legacy, things like that. So we take advantage of the positive points of working as a family, and you know, it's yours, it's your family's thing. So that's to be proud of in itself.
Yeah. So I mean, I hear you saying that the complexities are really are normal. The things that we would say are complex about working with family are just the personality differences that exist, but that happens whether you're in entrepreneurship or if you're working a 9 to 5, whether you're in the medical field or you're in the business world. There's going to be different personalities. So, but I hear you saying that the blessing is that it's yours. It's your business, right? You get to you have more say so, and you're getting direct benefit from it, not just financial, but other benefits of character, of learning how to work together, and so on and so forth. Is there another family that would like to share? What are some complexities and what are some benefits to working with your family? What would you say to those people who say you should never work with your family?
Well, yes, sometimes it can get annoying, really annoying, very annoying. But the good side about it is that you know what's gonna happen because you're always with your family. So you know what type of point of view they have and what happens. So you know how to work it out. Because if you're just working with some stranger, some complete person that you don't even know, some complete stranger, and they have different types of things that they think of and different opinions there.
Yes.
They will they'll kind of throw you off track because you'll have to deal with what they're doing. But no, or you could just stay with your family and deal with what you do every day.
Yeah, that's a really good point. When you know what your family's behaviors are, you know how your family thinks better than you know how a stranger thinks. And so, yeah, that's a really, really good point. You said it very well. Is there another family that would like to communicate the complexities and the benefits of working with your family?
I think for us, having worked together in this business for 18 to 20 years, we were thinking about the question, and I actually was thinking that maybe the complexity comes from now your home life. You're trying to make sure that what you do at the office, at the work, and the business doesn't affect what happens at home. So sometimes that can be a challenge, trying to balance that out and making sure you're doing what you can do at the business, but making sure when you come home, everything's calm, everything's balanced. But sometimes the complexity just comes in having to balance the two. But the other positive part about it is that you have someone working with you that has your back. You both have the same end goal and passion because you both are very invested in it. Mm-hmm. You know what has to get done, and if it doesn't get done, what happens. So the benefit is that you're both invested, and you both have each other. We've had each other in this for the length of the business, and that has been a benefit, that we can bounce things off of each other and talk about the challenges and come up with the solutions together. And and for us, I believe it strengthened our marriage as you continue to work on this one huge, immense project. At the home, God shows you that, what you can do if you can work together in the home, you can do anything out there as well as a couple. And it's just made us stronger, I believe. So those are the benefits that I see.
Yeah, I'll kind of add to that. I recruited my wife. I actually, she was, I started the business and I gave her an application. I recruited her. I was like, hey, and some of the things that I really wanted to have, first of all, was to make sure that our roles were clearly defined. So, You know, when I told my family that, hey, listen, I'm thinking about hiring my wife, and they're like, what? The two of you guys in the same business, tied to the same income? Oh man! And I got all kind of feedback and pushback from that. But you know, once you have roles clearly defined, and you know there's strengths, so we play off of our strengths, and you work together as a unit. I mean, we've done so much stuff together. It's been awesome. And I one of the real pros about it is that I watched my wife develop in her professional area, in her profession, and a lot of husbands and spouses that, you know, they may not work together. You know, you don't see that. You don't see your spouse profession. And I got a whole deeper appreciation for watching her in her profession with her skill set, doing her thing. And so that has just been a pro. It's been awesome to watch your spouse kind of develop. And we've been working together for 18 out of 20 years in the business. That's like a lifetime.
That's good.
Yeah, so it's been good.
Yeah. I mean, so the imagery that came to my mind as you were talking there at the end is this idea of, you know, oftentimes when spouses go off to work, you know the good and the bad, what they do well based off of what they tell you, right? Like, oh, I really did good today, or, you know, I really got a compliment today, or, you know, I'm really trying to grow in this particular area. But you're saying that being in business together as a family gives you that front row seat of the things that your spouse does well that you may not have appreciated if you weren't in business with them, right? The things that they do outside of the house that still contribute to the home. I think that's awesome.
I'd like to make a comment here. And of course, this comment is coming from social media. Perhaps you might see it. I'm going to bond two comments in one. Earlier, Colin Major, he speaks about how do you separate time. They say, how do you find and set aside time for each other that's separate from the business? And Eric Butler came behind that and asked this question. Says the Sawyers talk about balance. How do you separate business and home? So these are two comments. If you could maybe touch on this right now across the families, London, if you could take them into these two comments, please. So we could start with the Sawyers and then others can respond to it.
So I'll give you the first thing, right? In our business, and this is advice for any business, every industry has like conferences, and you know, it's an industry conference and whatever it is. And I used to go to all the conferences, and then I said, you know what, I'm gonna take my wife. What we did was we kind of made it was a thing. Conference became a vacation. It became a reconnect, and we look forward to traveling. We look forward to spending time together, and that's how we kind of used time for each other. Even when the conferences weren't there, we especially made a point of us taking vacations together and just intentionally saying, hey, listen, we need a break. Whatever it is, we need a break. And that vacation might have just been 2 days just to go somewhere and just to disconnect and to reconnect with each other. And so that's helped our marriage a lot, because when you take on a business and it's a thriving business, it can be all consuming. So you have to find a way to disconnect. That could just be family vacations, just taking a drive to another city, wherever it may be, and just getting away from it all and then reconnecting with each other. So that's
our friends are always, you guys are going somewhere else again. So yes, we travel a lot because it does help us to reconnect with each other and just take a break away from the business. But also we were talking about today how important the Sabbath has been to us in terms of maintaining that balance. I think if it wasn't for our faith, we would be working. 7 days a week, because when you're home, you're thinking about the business, you're thinking, oh, maybe we should do this instead, and there's some solution will come to your mind. But Sabbath, that 7th day, we intentionally just, park it somewhere on a note, and we come back on Sunday. But we've left that 7th day to just reconnect with God, reconnect with our family, reconnect with our friends, and that has helped us tremendously in maintaining balance in our relationship and balance with the business.
Yeah. Mute.
Oh, I thought you could hear me, but you couldn't. I think that that's great. I think that's amazing. Just this idea. I think so often we try to separate things, right? So we're like, oh, how can I separate my work life from my family life? And you're talking about all the beautiful blessings that come out of combining them and doing them well, right? Not doing them just for one thing in mind, but doing them well. And so the vacations that you all get, the Sabbath, or your new appreciation for the Sabbath, I think that's awesome. Larry?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. I wasn't following through with you. Okay, so you want me to move to the next question now, or?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Before we move to the next question, here's another one, and I believe it's very important. Colin Major said, it is said that family business have roughly 1 in 3 chance of continuing to the next generation. And I see this tying in with our next question, London. So succession planning is critical for any business to survive. How are you preparing for this? The Hinds, can you relate to this question from Facebook?
Sure, we can. I understand. I think the burden of the question is that when I'm finished with my business, what is the chance my children have the same passion, have the same drive for the thing that I was passionate about to start? And so I'm quite aware that even though I want to pass on my $1 billion business to my children, they may not be as interested. They may want the money from the business. But what I think is most important, and really this is my point, what I think is most important is to pass on the knowledge. I think there are lessons that I have learned in my business, and I've learned them, at my age, a few years in, that my goal and my responsibility is to pass those lessons on to these children at the age that they are now, so that when they grow up, they may go into business of their own, or they may go into another path. But the lessons that they've learned, those are riches to me. That's me passing on something that gives them a head start. And whether this business continues or not, those lessons will continue and give them a boost for where they want to go.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. So let's go to the next question. And this is very important, because sometimes we believe that life is all about business, and we forget the business that God has given us to really impact the next generation. So the question on my mind, and Adéniké, you could start off with answering this one. The Bible talks about God's watchfulness as parents pass sinfulness to the preceding generation. But as entrepreneurs, you also have an awesome opportunity to pass down righteousness and goodness to your children. How does being an entrepreneur increase this opportunity?
Okay, so my voice, sorry guys. Can you hear me? Okay, good. First and foremost, I've homeschooled the kids for the past 9 months.
So I'm going to try to repeat what you say, because we can hear you, but it's very faint. So after you make a statement, I'm going to,
I could come back and just
what's going on? I'm hearing a feedback.
Yeah, come back to the question. We're gonna fix this, and then if you could go to another family, and then we'll get this.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. So, I guess the Hinds family, if you can answer the same question. So this concept, the Bible talks about the God will visit the iniquities of the fathers to the third and fourth generation. It's throughout the Old Testament is where it pops up the most. And so there's this concept that sin is passed down from the third and fourth generation, but how is righteousness and goodness and good qualities also being passed down to your children and the hopes? Kymone, you were commenting, you were saying something like that earlier, that even if your family, Larry, can you put up a different image other than Adéniké? Larry. Okay. So Kymone, you were saying this earlier, right? You were saying that even if they don't want to inherit your multi-million-dollar business, right? You are looking forward to them receiving goodness and righteousness out of what they learn as they own their own businesses and as they watch you lead out in yours. And so can you say something more about just the difference, the benefit of being in business with your children and being able to pass down goodness versus the thing of passing down sin and passing down evil? Your wife is going to comment, or your daughter?
Joelle's going to go first, and then I'll go.
Okay.
I would say, like my dad said, you can pass down knowledge that will be like really critical to helping them become an entrepreneur, or if they wanted to. And also, like, seeing somebody in their family become an entrepreneur, it's like somebody like me has done it, so it can inspire them to do it as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think lessons, we realize lessons are caught and taught, right? I think we all know that. Like, children catch things through what they're taught officially and what they catch. And I think some of it is modeling. So, just modeling. I think my wife and I try to model good financial management for the children, good time management, goal setting. So those are some of the things that we see that as a part of business, working in business, it's helped them to develop those skills as well. And then just something I'll share with any parent, whether you're in business or not, we have something called our business meetings that we do. We used to average once a month, kind of fell off our consistency, but it's something that we meet and we talk about what everyone is working on towards some goal advancement. And I think those things, long after these children are gone off and they're having their own, developing their own legacies, they will remember those lessons. And so I think that's just something for parents to realize. You teach lessons officially and through modeling.
Yeah. I mean, I hear you. So the goal that comes to my mind, or the quality that it sounds like, the good quality that it sounds like you're instilling through those meetings is saying, hey, we said we would do this.
Yeah.
What have you done in this past month towards this goal that you said you wanted to achieve, right? And so it's giving some value of accountability, of quality of work, of keeping your word. If you say you're going to do this, then there's going to be some accountability held to see that accomplished. And so I think that's great. Larry, we can't hear you.
Okay. I think what we see happen a lot of time is that persons might be very good in passing or transmitting the business side down to the next generation. So children lives in the legacy and sometimes build on it. We see it with some of the rich billionaires in this world. But it seems that in the process of transmitting that, what has also been transmitted is a certain level of callousness and just rawness and not love for human beings. We see that at the highest level in society. So the question coming out of this that is on my mind is, how intentional would you think that a family who are involved in business should be, not only to just say, do this, be honest, but also to be that model in transmitting faith to the next generation? The Sawyers could begin, and then the Hinds. I would like to hear both of you and your comments on this.
Okay, so Larry, great question, right? And I think I'll say this, that if you want to, it's been our experience, right? And we can only talk about us. It's been our experience that through this business, recognizing that God had planted this seed inside of me, it's been a faith walk. 20 years of surviving has been a faith walk. And we try to show our children that we are stewards of something that God has entrusted to us, and He is expecting us to grow that business. He's expecting us to be good and faithful stewards and pass those things that we have down. I fully, one-heartedly, 100% agree with Kymone that a wise man leaves an inheritance for his children's children, and that inheritance is not the riches. That inheritance is the lessons that you've learned, because a fool and his money are so imparted. But those lessons that you have taught your children, pass that down, is what is going to help them succeed in every facet of life. Now, there is a misconception that businesses are going to be around for life, for like eternity and whatnot. Historically, that is not the case. When you study businesses, you will find that most businesses only go through 2 generations. That is the average, is 2 generations. So you'll have the first one starting, then the kids that come along, and then things just dissolve. Things go a different way. And then there's also a misconception that, once you have a business, you have to, I hate to say it, but the model should not be the ultra wealthy. The model should be about how are you taking your business, passing that down if it needs to be, and passing those lessons down to the kids so they can find something to fulfill their purpose, right? And not be so concerned about the money aspect of it, right? There's a reason why Mercedes-Benz has been around for over 100 years. It had nothing to do about dollars. It had all about everything to do with building a quality product and instilling those fundamental characteristics into the business, which is why it succeeded, but not by the dollars. And you find that when you have a family that they're only concerned with the dollars, it leads them away from where they're supposed to go, not towards their true purpose. And that's when you don't have longevity. And then the other part of it is that, really and truly, people sell their businesses. And they sell it because they for whatever reason, they sell it and they want to go into retirement. I see that Brother Colin has asked a question about, what happens if you want to sell your business, and what happens if you want to go into retirement? I'm almost 50, right? And so, those things are in my mind as we start to think about succession planning, about passing down for the kids, and what options are you going to leave for them? I tell everybody, I say, hey, listen, what you need to do is always build your business to sell it. You may not sell the business, but if you're building a business to sell it, that means that you're making it as attractive as possible for anyone else that's coming along. So you're adding value to it. It's no different than your home. You're going to take your home and put whatever you could do in your home, because one day somebody might want to pick up your home. But if you run it down and it's just crap, nobody's going to, you devalue it. But put everything into it to build your business, to sell your business. And it doesn't mean that you have to sell it, but it just means that you've incorporated all of the tools, everything, the qualities that you need to give it the value that you have. And remember that God is going to judge you by you being a faithful steward. How well have you taken care of that which He has entrusted to you? So
yeah, I hear you. I hear you dealing with
dynamic.
Yeah, I hear you dealing with stewardship. I hear you dealing with whatever you find your hand to do, right? Do it to the glory of God, in such a way that you're not. I hear you saying that as your family and as your children are watching you in this business, they see that quality is over what it is that I can get out of it, right? I hear you making that point, that doing something well is better than just trying to get something. I'm doing this so I can get ... whatever it is, right? And so I hear you articulating that very well. Not to cut you off. If there is something that you wanted to add, please do.
Even before the Hinds and maybe Johnson's chime in, because as I was saying earlier, sometimes you see big businesses and persons are successful until the day they die, and their children comes afterwards and they do well. But what we see missing in many cases is that character. It's not there, and as a result, it scar the business. Even though the business might be going because persons need job, or you offer a service that people more than likely need, it goes on. But at the same time, there's a stigma, a negative stigma that is attached to the business, and that's why I really appreciate those comments from you, Chris, because it shows that the product must be something about the values in the heart, and that's what good businesses are built on.
All right, so I think Adéniké, Johnson family, if you can try to answer that question. You were starting before. You sound good. There's no bad echo, so let's hear from you.
Okay, so what I was saying is that I have homeschooled the kids for 8 years.
Homeschooled the kids for 8 years.
11 years.
Yes.
A long time. And I had them in the back of the restaurant in the office. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It was difficult because here we were running between customers and children and babies. He was a baby at the time. But the important thing is that they have learned the discipline to start and to finish, whether it be continuing on fiber or going into a career that they choose otherwise. So those are good things. Now, seeing me and my husband work through some issues, because working together in a business is not easy. As a spouse, and if you're in a marriage, it's not easy. It's very challenging. Lots of conversations, lots of arguments at times between me and my husband. However, but coming to a grassroots and the discipline, what we've learned from family worships, to always remain faithful to the relationship and building that community within the family. We always go out and build community with customers or strangers, but we never remember to maintain that community within the family. And that was important for us to maintain and to learn and to establish with the kids and let them see that mom and dad is having an issue. Mom and dad is working through the issue. Mom and dad resolve that issue, and we're still continuing and pressing forward. So that real life experience is helping them to deal with real life experience.
Yeah. I mean, that's good. I appreciate your honesty and your openness, right? So Nadine was saying something similar, right? That it's not all sunshine and roses and rainbows, and right, it's not that's not the reality. I mean, that's not the reality in life. Whether you're working for someone, or if you're working for yourself with your family. And so one of the questions that Eric Butler asked that Adenike, he just answered, is what happens when business interferes with family? Have you had to make adjustments, and if so, how? And so I hear you saying, that the quality of a family, not the quality of a family, but as the normacy of family disagreement and needing to work through issues, it's almost like when you have that business, it's that extra pressure of working through issues, and your children have the opportunity to learn how to work through issues. That's there was something else that you were going to say in answering Butler's question?
Interpersonal skills. The kids get to build interpersonal skills with each other and with strangers, because the thing is that we're always nice to our customers. We're always nice to the business partners. But when we come to the family, it's a different story. You lash out, you might speak unkind words, you know, or like Ethan, he's sensitive. Sometimes I'll say something, you know, I'm on the phone, I'm talking, and he'll say, Mom, can I know, like, and he's like, you know, I can see it in his face. So the business has taught me how to treat them with the level of love and respect that I show and extend to the customers or strangers.
That's good.
And in doing so, now I'm able to, you know, operate with grace and with love. So it's important to establish these things by having a growth mindset within a business, with the family, with your wife, with your husband, with your children. You have to have a mindset that is foundationally built, scriptural, like in the word, because it's the word that brings you through those marital problems, those marital challenges, because not only are you dealing with the personal marital challenges, now you have it in the business, and you're trying to differentiate and say, okay, this is business, this is not marriage. I gotta separate it.
Yes. Adenike, no truer words were said. No truer words have been said. When you are in your business, a husband and wife, and with children and whatnot, I will tell you, there is nothing that will test the fiber of your marriage. There is nothing that will unpeel the layers of who you are and who your spouse is. Can't compare. Nothing will test it.
I'm telling you, it's friendship. It's the friendship, right?
You have friendship, right?
For the Sawyers, I saw the friendship in the dancing.
Yeah.
I saw the friendship in the dancing. I didn't see husband and wife, really.
Right.
I didn't see a husband. I didn't see that. I saw a friendship.
Yeah. We have to tell those and have that displayed to our children, because it's our children. They're not looking at so much so of, you know, what it is that mommy and daddy are doing in their business, right? They're not really looking. They're looking at how is a husband and wife connecting? How are they taking and stripping away the titles of husband and wife, but now, or mommy and daddy, but how are we as two friends, as businesses, as business owners? And so, you know, being in business together, it does a lot of stripping. It leaves you naked sometimes. And it's great for your kids to kind of see you naked, because it shows them the reality of what it is. And, you know, we try to show them not the nakedness, but we
I know. The metaphorically.
Right?
I really appreciate that, because I appreciate that, because the children, they benefit from seeing that kind of unity with parents and love and realness, dealing with real life situations. Let's take a turn on that. And I believe earlier I saw a question as it relates to be Black and in business. I want to relate to that. Well, of course, we want this family, this discussion this evening to benefit all colors. But in recent time, the rise of the realness of what society is in terms of its unfairness to people of color, and in particular, Black. How do you manage to really inspire your children? And even as children, how do you feel that, you know what, I am Black, but I am going to go on and I'm going to do my own business. I'm going to be an entrepreneur in a climate where you are not valued because of your color?
I think I personally feel like Janiyah should come at that question, since her business is about Black history. And
Yes.
so, as from being a child, being a part of this family, how can you answer this question about being a Black owned business, and being a part of history in a positive way?
I would definitely say my parents are very encouraging and have been a big part of the reason why I am such a big fan of Black history and learning about it and teaching it to others. And I definitely think with my business, being Black in business, with my message is I want to inspire others that they can do the same as me and make their own businesses and do whatever they want to do, and continue to break barriers that others think they will be able to. So I think being Black in business is every day you're doing something, you're going over another obstacle and breaking barriers that a lot of people wouldn't be able to. So I think it's important that you do those things so you can inspire others and show them that Black people can do anything that we want to do.
That's right.
Yeah, that's good. Is there any of you in the family that would like to add on to that?
I think it's during these times, these terrible, terrible times, I think it's important to encourage them to act in a positive way. It's easy to be angry, and we are all angry, and it's easy to focus on that anger. But that's why Janiyah, her platform is to educate and let people know about these different people that went before us, because some of us don't know. And so if we don't know about our history and our heritage, then or if we do know about our history and heritage, we can hang on to that and see those people that did fight hard, and keep up that fight, and try to encourage ourselves and our community to press on in a way that we can benefit, press on business wealth. And how do we do that? How do we communicate Black wealth, through education, acquiring property, things like that, and learning the business that unfortunately we don't get taught. And so it's important to encourage, us to deal with our feelings and understand everything that's going on now, but to deal with them in a way that we can help ourselves and help others in the direction that we should go.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you in a sense. So as you're speaking, Mrs. Hinds, is this idea of like you're creating that safety net for your children, that to be Black business owners, because being a Black business owner can sometimes be difficult, especially in the world that we live in, right? I mean, we know about, within American history, there's been times that Black business was thriving and successful, and it was literally burnt to the ground, right? And so you're providing spaces for your children to thrive, and so into adulthood, they have that encouragement, that motivation, to keep going in whatever their hands find to do. Christine and Ethan, I saw you nodding your heads and agreeing with what Janiyah was saying. Is there something that you would like to add to the conversation?
Well, me personally, I am proud to be Black, no matter what people say and how they feel about my skin color.
All right, and you're gonna do well.
Yes.
you're gonna do well, Christine.
I've experienced people being racist to me and my family. And whenever I think about it, I think of, yes, it is a negative thing, but I try to take positive out of it.
Okay. For example, what is something positive, if you can? I'm putting you on the spot, but what is a situation where someone was trying to be ugly, right? Someone was meaning to be unkind, and you were able to walk away with something positive, even though that wasn't seemingly their intention.
Well, one time we were at the beach and we were about to drive into a parking lot that was free.
Oh, okay, yeah. All right.
What story you about to share? Go ahead.
And we were about to go into the parking lot when this old white lady came out and stopped and came out in front of our car. And she said that she was reserving that parking spot. So we were fine about it. And we went and we waited until another car went and left. And when the next car left, the lady went and ran into that next spot and said that, oh, we're using this one too. And at the time, in my mind, I'm like, what is this lady doing?
Mm-hmm.
And I know my mom gets mad very easily. And I'm hoping that nothing terrible happens. So in my mind, I'm thinking, what can be a positive thing that that can happen? I'm at the beach. Think of that. Think of me rolling in the sand and splashing through waves, and instead of thinking of the terrible situation that is happening right outside my window.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. I mean, it's just the concept of counting your blessings in the middle of, ugliness, right? And so acknowledging there's this ugly thing that's happening, but there's also so much beauty around. And so being just choosing to focus on that. Adenike, were you wanting to add something?
I've had to share this with my community. We've had people, Caucasian people, walk out of the business when they find out it's Black owned, primarily because their question is, how is it you're Black, but you're eating vegan or plant-based, as though it's reserved for one race, having healthy eating. They're expecting me to have pork, fried chicken, stuff like that. So when I don't have that, they're just surprised that a Black person can operate a restaurant at that kind of level. But I let the kids experience these negative things and we talk about it because I want them to see how we can flip it into a positive impact, and how you take this negative into a positive by you see, well, okay, they think that veganism, they think that plant-based is reserved for their race. However, that's where we come in to help them to understand and educate them that it's a cultural thing, it's an island thing, it's a Black, white, European, it's a human thing, it's a biblical thing. Eating plant-based is biblical. So, having that opportunity to educate them is where we come in and we take on that responsibility to do so. It is hard, it is challenging, you have to smile, right? But it's something that we have to champion, hold on to it, push forward, and educate them about it. That's it. You lack the education, okay, here's how we can tell you. So when they eat the food, they're like, oh wow, it's delicious. Yes, even more so because your Black hands touch it. So things like that, educating them, letting them know that, you need some culture in your life. You need some more Black people in your life. You need that stability because from my experience, the Black culture, especially island people, immigrants, there's this thing that's embedded into us to push and to persevere, okay? So it's in their best interest to have some Black people, some island people friends, you know what I mean? Like to cross culture and to have some identity with those that are not of their own race. So I'm open and I'm here for your friendship. So that's the approach. So I don't take it negative. I try to flip it in a positive way and I let them see it and help them to flip it as well. So my voice is just like,
Yes.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Because the challenges are multifaceted that the Black family face. It's not only being Black. Sometimes it's where you're from being Black. It's a challenge. And you move inside of a mall and you open up fiber. Person's like, oh, I have a Black neighbor. It feels uncomfortable. So I appreciate that. I want to pull on
Larry.
We want to pull on your children. We haven't heard from them.
Just before you, I want to pull on Jared and Alyssa.
Okay.
No.
Well,
I was listening.
She has something
In fact, I was watching the live of the opening of the new facility that you went in, and I sat and I listened to both of you as you spoke on behalf of your family and showed that excitement. Now, you might not, we are not in the culture of the United States of America, but as two young persons, you have seen what is happening here in the Caribbean context with young Black children. Too many have gone to crime and violence. Too many have lost their lives on the street. What have you seen in your parents that propels you to continue in this entrepreneurial path, whether it is to at the sometime become owners or share owners in this business to a greater level, or to have your own business? What have you seen that propels you to do that, bearing in mind what is happening with other children around you?
well, my parents have never really been too big on the idea of like, oh, you should take over the company, you know, when
We can hear her.
Okay.
like you should take over the company when we're not around. They've never really been too big on that, but they've always supported us in whatever we wanted to do, whatever career we wanted to pursue, whether it be a professional actor or a lawyer or a doctor. They've always been there to support us. So like, you know.
Yeah.
I hear you saying that your parents have supported your positive aspirations, right?
Yeah.
You want to do something positive, and they've come behind you to support that. And so, going down a bad road wasn't necessarily a draw for you, because you have positive support of going down a positive road from both of your parents. Jared, is there something you wanted to add to that?
No, it's just that my dad's always been there to support me and my sister in whatever we do. So he has always strived us to actually to run a business or to run over his business. To, make sure that once we grow up, our families will have something to eat and something to drink in the house and a car to get everywhere and stuff like that, so we can make our own.
All right. Let me follow through. Knowing the dynamics of your family, your mother and your father, you are now connected across two cultures, a first world and a third world country, being Canada and the Bahamas. How do you envisioning yourself being able to make an impact, not only in the Bahamas, but also other places as you grow?
I would like to say, just when I go to Canada, I like to see my family and stuff, and that puts me in the mindset that you've been with my mom, and then when I come back to the Bahamas, you've been with my dad. So conduct yourself accordingly, and don't be like, I'm from the Bahamas, so I don't know you Canadians, or like if I'm from Canada, I don't know you Bahamians. So they're all your family and they're all your friends and stuff like that.
So based upon that, do you see yourself from the richness of multicultural within the relationship with your mother and your father, transcending that into entrepreneurial opportunities in the first world countries as well?
Yes, because they did their culture in the business as well. So it combines them. You can't just turn off their culture while they're in the business. It combines them and it's part of them.
That's awesome. I mean, I hear you. I hear your skills being strengthened, right? Your skills of understanding that this is a different culture. While I may live here, I visit here, and being able to appreciate people from different cultures. So then you can take those skills now to appreciate people of cultures that aren't within the Canadian or the Bahamian culture. As you expand, as you grow, as you are more educated, and as you walk into whatever career path you so choose. Nadine, there was something that it seemed like you were trying to say earlier.
Yes, what I wanted to say was Lisa said, she talked about how we encourage the kids, yes, if they want to take over the business, that's an option, but also to follow their own passions. And I think it goes back to what we were talking about succession planning. We never wanted to be the types of, you tell our children or give them that pressure. You have to take over the business. There's no other options because, at the end of the day, it has to be something that they would have wanted to do. And never wanted
rebellion.
Right.
I never rebellion.
Yeah, I wanted them to feel like this is something they have to do. At the end of the day, it might not be their passion to be in information management and shredding and there's things that we do. So I said, it's important for them to find their own passion. And if they decide to develop a business like a lot of the families on our panel have done around their own passion, we will support that 100%. But it's important, I guess, as business owners to know that your children may not want to carry on your dream and be prepared to support them in whatever they want to do.
I also want to add to that, right? So to both Adenike and Kymone and his family, right? We have been blessed with businesses that we can incorporate our families into, right? But more importantly, what it is that we have lessons that our children, it's not theoretical anymore, right? It's practical. When they now look at, look at the Jobs or the Bill Gates or the Waltons, or, we could take a whole bunch of other companies, a bunch of other family businesses. And we can say, hey, they're not looking at it theoretically, like they're seeing it on some TV and that's some stranger. One of the blessings that our kids have is that, and in each one of our families, in Ike's family and with Kymone's family, they can see for themselves what it is to be a business owner. And they're learning lessons that even if they don't apply it to, even if they don't apply it to being business owners, they'll have a business mindset. That's something that they can't run away from. They need to have a business and ownership mindset. And that is one of the lessons that we're there teaching them, whether intentionally or not, just because we are all business owners within the family, right? I'm sure Kymone, his three children, they're seeing that they're growing up with a business mindset. Even if they go on their own separate ways, they're gonna have a business mindset. And the way they think about our kids working together as a unit, collectively, and having an entrepreneurial mindset is gonna be there. They can't run away from it. And that's the thing. Yes, we think globally, we think expansively, and we we're into different cultures because we're Canadian and Bahamian, but you can always train your children to think outside of their current conditions, outside of the block that they live in, outside of the state that they live in, but even outside of the country that they're living, that this is a global world and that the Lord has placed us to be global ambassadors. First, to be ambassadors within our surroundings, but to have great examples for others that are looking from within. This program that you have is not just here in the Bahamas or wherever you are in Kymone, and we're internet, we're global. And so we're here to teach and encourage and be that support for people who will watch this globally. And so we have to look at our experiences to be there, to be examples for others so that we can help others and encourage others. Set aside that there are going to be challenges with race and other cultures, etc. That's going to happen. God never told us that we're going to get a blessing without taking a beating. He never said it.
Yes.
He said it. Take a beating, right?
Yes.
Take the beating no matter what it is. Take on the challenge no matter what it is. If God is for us, who can be against us? And that's the lessons that we're there to teach our children, that it doesn't matter about what race is happening and whatever issues that the enemy throws at us within our local communities, we can not only survive, but we can thrive. And because we have God on our side, right? And that's the lessons that we want our children to know, whether they're in business or not in business. It just happens that we're in business and we can teach them those lessons as well.
Yeah, I like that, Chris. And by the way, as we started, I heard someone said, good evening from Zimbabwe. So right away, you're here. Persons want to know how your business here can benefit them there. How your idea here can benefit them there. So it has to be a global mindset.
Yeah.
London is going to segue into some questions for the children. But how do you lead your children, your next generation, into taking the small idea into a big dream, into a vision that works? How do you get from here to there? I know we did not have that in the questions, but people might be watching now and say, "What? You know what? I'm seeing Ian having his clothing line. I would like my son to have one of those." So that's a small idea that becomes a big dream, and it's going. So how do you do that? Small idea, big dream, get it out. How do you do that?
Who's the question for?
The Hinds family, if you all can start off.
Okay, we go with the Hinds, then the Ian, then the Sawyers.
All right. And before we answer, one of the things I noticed Chris and his family representing the Bahamas and Canada. I just wanted to represent for Trinidad, Trinidad here as well. I think what you said is you almost answered it already, Larry. I think for our children to get to that big dream, we have to, yes, allow them to dream, like stretch them. So what else? Allow to stretch them to the furthest points. There are always limitations, but there's always a way. That's one of the things we try to teach our kids. There's always a way. So stretch the dream as far as you can. And then once you have that dream as far as you can, what's the smallest place you can start? If you want to get to owning a restaurant, what's the smallest thing you can do? You can start preparing meals for people. You can start selling them on a small basis in the neighborhood. And I think for so many people, we either get trapped where we don't dream big enough or we don't start at a level that's manageable. So our children, they want to start something, but we don't boil it down as in a small thing. So with Janelle, I'll just use her as an example. If you want to start a clothing line, start with one t-shirt. You don't need to have 20 different designs. Start with one, get that going, and then add to it. And that seems more manageable for all of us, children or adults, to get started with something small.
That's good.
Now I have a lot of shirts.
Start big and move up. There was a question. There were several questions actually about this this aspect of passion and calling that I saw in the comment section as we were talking about families coming together, motivating families to come together. Kymone, I know that both Kymone and Adéniké, I'm sorry, you all both consult, right, with entrepreneurial people who want to be entrepreneurs and giving them tools and things. One thing that comes to my mind is this thing of finding someone's talent or finding someone's calling? Is there someone that will be willing to kind of pick that up? And how are we combining this aspect? Because everyone here, we are believers, we are Christians, right? And on the previous program, we talked about the way that Christ motivates us, and the biblical support for being an entrepreneur, and the biblical support for working as a family and things like that. So what is this thing of calling and passion from God, and how does that play a role in your families being entrepreneurs?
You're asking me? Me first?
Yeah, I mean, Adéniké, you can go first.
So, okay, go ahead, go. So, I'm doing my business to help my family and other people.
Okay.
Because I'm doing my business, so later on in life, I could send my parents to a cruise or something.
All right.
Go to other places and have a nice time whenever we get older and stuff. And well, I started from just just drawing. I was like, hey, maybe I could put these on t-shirts. And then that built into this huge business that I have right now.
Huge.
Because I took these steps. Mom gave me this sheet of paper, which gave me steps and alternatives and different things to happen so that we can use.
Yeah, I think that the biblical support for that is this idea of counting the costs, right? That before you go into something, you need to kind of look at it, count the cost. What is it going to take to do this? And I hear you saying that your mom put that plan out in front of you, or gave you that blank paper so you can count the cost. What is it going to take? What is the energy? What is step 1, step 2, step 3? Are you going to commit yourself to this plan?
Yeah, because in the Bible it talks about, well, Jesus mentions that when you're building a house, you have to consider if you have the money to finish it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I try to take them through the steps where they have an idea, they sit down, they're talking, oh, these ideas, I want to do this. All right, Zoom. Let's put it down into paper, writing, and just take it from one step at a time. Now they're forced to do the work. When you're forced to do the work, now you have to be honest with yourself. And it's in that honesty, now you can play out, oh, this is what's required. Oh, okay. How do I shave this down? Now the process of problem solving begins, and now you're able to implement solutions to get to the next stage. So I would encourage people to do a business model canvas. That's the first thing to get. I do it with the kids. That's what they did. They had their vendors, their business counterparts that they get connected with and establish relationships with them, because now they're not talking anymore. They're not thinking. They're taking what's in their mind and they're putting it into action on paper and initiating those processes, those steps. And that's what's important. But more so is unlearning. I teach entrepreneurs to unlearn the things that they've learned about fear, because fear is something that the world tells you is a bad thing, but in essence, it is somewhat a good thing, because now you get an opportunity to kind of learn what you need to do in order to move forward to the next step.
Overcome it. Yeah.
So,
courage is only courage if there's fear present, right? And overcoming the fear that is present. That's good. Is there, so I really, really, really have not heard from Jaden Hinds, and I would love for him to chime in. You know, he's the person in the background. He's the person making sure things are running smooth. The communications person. But I would like to give, we want to hear your voice. We want to hear what is your perspective on entrepreneurship and the role that you play and the things that you gain as being a part of the Hinds team.
Well, Well, I
I'm gonna
do.
give you a moment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Their businesses, how hard they work, and how dedicated they are to it.
Okay. Okay. So the way that you help, in any way, is it the passion from your sisters or from your sister that causes you to want to, like how does the passion that your sister gives off inform your participation in the process?
How did you get involved in the videos?
Yeah, so Janai's videos, like since I want to be a video editor and like Janai was making videos, I thought like I should just become her video editor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how am I doing with it?
Yeah.
Good stuff.
I just add just to give a shout out to Jaden. I think in every family, I think one of the lessons and the things we want to do is say let's support one another, be cheerleaders, and Jaden is an awesome cheerleader for everyone in this family with the things that we're doing. You need people like Jaden to encourage you when you do this. I just want to give him his props.
Oh, the love. Yes. Yes.
stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good
Very
stuff.
good. Very good, very good. So I mean we're really wrapping up here. And so our last message, if we can have one person from each family just kind of give a message of hope. Larry, did you want to share what that message of hope will be geared to this week?
Yeah, well, I guess each family could do that, but I just wanted to comment on what was said just now by Hinds. It's important to understand that when the family is going into a business or businesses, it's like the church. Different individuals will play different roles. Everyone cannot be the president. I know that in the video with the Sawyers, you see president, vice president. Everyone have a role. And sometimes persons are scared to go into businesses because they man, I don't want to overrule my husband while you are the business mind. Right? So each individual have to know their role. And if you're going to take it and go ahead with it, and your husband as a support, or the children as a support, or the children going ahead with it, and the parents
are the support.
It's very important for us to understand that. Don't shy away from your call, because and when we were created by God, we must remember one of the first things that He made us. We are estate managers, right? He is the master, and we are the stewards to manage that estate. So we should by no means sit around and believe that, guess what, I have a dream, but it's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to go anywhere. God has placed inside of all of us something to do. So each person in the family has a role and can really make it big and do big. And at the end of the day, this will not only be a blessing to you as an individual, as a wife, as a husband, as a son or a daughter within the family, but it will bless the entire family. It will please God because He placed you in the estate to be fruitful and multiply. So I just wanted to add that before we go into the last questions.
That's
which of
good.
course
If I may, I'll take us there. I just wanted to emphasize again, just for those individuals that may be listening and those individuals that are represented in these families, that aren't the individuals that are rushing to say something, right? But they still hold so much value in what it is that they contribute, whether they are the motivation, why those that are more boisterous are speaking up, or if they are motivating, right, in their own capacities. And so also for those who are listening, you know, there's this idea, you know, of introverted and extroverted personalities. And, you know, I'm kind of both. But individuals that are rushing to the front to speak, sometimes too much value is placed on the individual that is speaking the most, where there's also deep value in the individual that you may not see or hear from, because just because you don't see them or hear from them doesn't mean that they're not doing something in the background. And so I just wanted to give some love to the introverts, right, or the individuals that are doing the work in the background. And so if we can just move into our last question. It's kind of like I don't want to really move into our last question because I feel like there's still so much that you all can give. But we have to, right? We have to respect the time of our viewers and you all on our panel. And so if you can share a message of hope to the person who has been called to be an entrepreneur, but because they have family and there's a bunch of things going on in with the pandemic and just with social unrest and all of these things, they feel like they don't have the time. They don't feel like they have the capability of doing it because they have to homeschool their kids now. And if they weren't homeschooling before, and if you can give a message of hope to that person in particular, who is looking at the difficulties going on in the world right now, and those difficulties are causing them to shrink back from walking into their entrepreneurship endeavors.
Well, I could say something. The last time I was on here, I told you guys I had to close my restaurant because of the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
We closed in March. Then we had April. Then we're like, what's going on? June, then July. We just opened up like 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
So that's a long time.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of lost customers.
Mm-hmm.
But there were times where the question of should we continue or should we just call quits? What is going on? This does not make any sense. But I want to encourage everybody that when you have a vision, you have a responsibility. It's not so much the children who are supposed to fulfill that responsibility. However, if it's on your heart, it's important for you to go to God in prayer to understand how and what must be done. So the principles that I've grown on, raised myself on, taught myself to believe, and it's the same principles that's helping me to move forward with the business and gain even more traction and gain even more encouragement is this. You have the idea. Now you need to write it down. Write it down. Get a paper, get a pen, write it down. Now, once you've written it out, you've made the vision plain. Okay, it's there in front of you. It's not in your mind anymore. It's on paper. The next thing is you want to validate it. You want to see if it's something that can work. Ask questions. We started our restaurant with $200, just $200.
Mm-hmm.
And we were fortunate to go to okay. So we were fortunate to grow it and bootstrap it and put money back into the business and cycle it. Okay. But what I'm trying to tell you is these principles that I've learned, I've learned and I'm teaching the kids, is write it down and then build a foundation that is have worship with God. Spend time in the morning. When you get up, spend time with God. He has to come first. You have to spend time in prayer and put in this vision before him and work it out. I'm telling you, he'll work it out right there in front of you because now you're making it tangible. You're saying, okay, here's the vision, Lord. I'm going to follow through with it. Okay. And from you've written it out,
Now you have to, and then because you're spending more time with him, you're learning God's understanding and you're diminishing your understanding. Your understanding based on what you see does not make any sense. This pandemic does not make sense. It doesn't make sense to continue the business, but because I'm not leaning to my own understanding, I'm moving forward. And because of that obedience to God's understanding, the business is booming. Does that make sense? It shouldn't boom. It shouldn't boom. We were closed for so long, but now it's picked up even more traction, more attention. Why? Because of the blessings and the obedience. Then the last thing I want to encourage you is to adapt a growth mindset, the type of mindset where when something negative happens, instead of seeing it as something detrimental, you're able to flip it into something very instrumental, very, very key to this. And these are the things that I've had to teach myself. And the last thing I'm going to give you is just, it says, cast down imaginations. That's Second Corinthians 10 verse 5. Casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of God. This is the time that you spend with God. The worship that you were doing now, your mindset that you had before is going to come against worship and the time you spent with God, but you got to cast it down, the Bible is saying, and bring into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. All of that has its implication in business, not just personal. It's also in business. Business is personal because it affects your personal life. So your faith has everything to do with your business, and it's your faith that's going to bring you through and grow your business. That's what I want to encourage people today.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Which family wants to go next? Just giving a message of hope to that individual.
I would say, I know, like, I would say, as Nike says, just do it. But I don't want to make it seem like it's just the easiest thing to do, because in a business, there will definitely be ups and downs and a lot of challenges that you will have to face. But with a business, as many have said before, there's a lot of lessons you learn. And for teenagers especially, it's a great time to start a business in this time that we're in our age of being young, because we get to learn all these lessons and have a lot of failure because we have our parents supporting us, everything. So, but also for adults, like, I don't want them to think it's too late for them, because as my dad, he had this illustration that he told some people when we were speaking somewhere else. He said the first best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, but the second best time to plant a tree is now.
All right.
That should be an illustration to help people to know that you can start your business now and it's not too late for you, because if not now, then when start your business? You can't keep putting it off, and you never know what could happen. So I would say just be ready if there is failure, but know that you can keep pushing on to see your vision come to life.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that message of hope. And last but not least, the Sawyer family, if you will please share with us a message of hope.
Okay, so I want to start with this, right? That crisis brings opportunity. And I whether it's a pandemic or whatever it is, it brings opportunity. That's one of the side things of it. There's a company, you all may know it. It's called Yamaha, right? Back in World War II, they faced a world war, not a pandemic, but much more than that. And they developed small engines, but the company had to shift and go from small engines to pianos. And you all may see some pianos. They didn't go into that intentionally. They went into it because the crisis brought an opportunity, right? And they're still thriving. Yamaha is still out there today. My thing is that just because there's a crisis, don't panic. We're believers in faith. Ask God to direct your path. It doesn't matter what's happening, whatever the crisis is. God has you, in the palm of your hand and the palm of his hand. And so if God has you here, nobody can take you out of that. He will protect you, see you through. I don't care what the crisis is. I believe that, right? I've gone through it. That's my experience. And if he's got you, he's going to take you all the way through it. Ask him to direct your path. And I guarantee you, he is going to plant a seed in your heart. And God is going to provide you with not only the opportunity, once again, to survive, but to thrive. I keep saying that because it's just been my mantra, right? And I got a mantra that I want to say to all of the businesses, owners that's got family in there. Make sure that your family has a mantra, right? Now I don't know what your mantra is, but I'm gonna get my kids to pipe in here. What's our family? Yeah?
You do the work, you get the prize.
Say it again. Say it again. With enthusiasm. Okay, but you get it, right? You do the work and you will win the prize. It didn't say that you're not going to fail. It didn't say that you're always going to get 100% on everything, that you're not going to face obstacles. That's not what life is about. God didn't plan it that way, all right? Life is going to be thrown at you. Challenges are going to be thrown at you. It's going to happen. But I guarantee you that if you do the work, if you stay faithful to God, you will win the prize. It's just guaranteed. That's just, don't argue with me on that. That's what the Lord said. You do the work, you're going to get the prize. There's a prize for all of us. And so that's what I tell people, in particular when they're facing this pandemic. And I will tell you, as business owners that we have survived this pandemic. We will continue to survive, not just because God has protected us, but also because God continues to teach us the things that we can do to protect our business. Because you have to, and I don't care what it is, you've got to protect yourself from being able to take a hit, okay? And you've got to understand the things that are going to cripple your business, the things that are going to cripple and hurt your family. One of those big things that hurt businesses, even outside of a pandemic, has been debt. God warns us about debt, right? And whether it was debt back in 2008 with the financial crisis, and whether it's now, it is debt that's going to take you down. There's other things, but you have to protect your business by how do you protect it? From taking a hit. And for me, there's 4 things. You build the right people. You surround yourself with the right people in your business. You do that. You surround your business with the best processes, and you do that. You have proper execution in your business. You do that, and you watch and you maintain your cash. So if you protect your people, protect your processes, protect the execution, and protect the cash in any business, you will be able to take a hit better than anything else, okay? And God's he never said that there ain't gonna be waves that are gonna come at you, but you gotta learn how to take the hit, absorb it, and keep moving on, okay? So it's in people, it's in processes, it's in execution, and it's in cash. You know how many companies have taken a hit because of this pandemic, but because they treated their people good, their people are still around, their people are still fighting for the company, because they took their processes and they were able to scale it down and make sure those processes go good and they were all right. You know how many people said, well, we're going to execute better and differently. And you know how many people said, you know what? I got cash sitting down. I'm good. I'm going to be able to take the hit. I'm going to be able to take some of those cash, that profit that we've had, and pour it back into their people and say, you know what, to their staff, we're going to pay you X, etc. during these tough times. So you can protect your business by taking a hit, by putting some of these principles in place. But remember always, God is going to equip us with what we need to survive. We need to continue to stick by him because he is the author and the finisher of our faith. And he never, ever, ever, he said, above all things, I wish that you be in good health and that you prosper as your soul prospers. That's his intent. It's always for us to prosper, okay? So I hope that I don't want to preach no more, Brother Larry, the pastor. That's me. Okay. All right.
Wow.
You win the prize.
Do the work. Win the prize. But of course, the work is clear, and I believe I heard those things reverberating across all family. The people, the process.
Process, execution, and cash. People, that's right. Execution
and cash. It's we all can make it. We all can make it. But we have to do the work, and all of these things are involved in it. Yeah. London, we're at the end, and we still 10 minutes.
We took 10 minutes, but we appreciate you all giving us a little bit more time, and so I hope and I believe that everyone who's listening to this was filled with hope. As entrepreneurs are thriving. There are many entrepreneurs that I know that are thriving during this pandemic, and new businesses and new ministries have come about during this pandemic, including Zoom Hope Live. Not that, we're not an official business. There's no money coming in or out. But people are still being blessed, and that's the point. Just as Ian said, he does what he does so that he can be a blessing. And so I hope that all of the businesses that are existing right now, those that are listening, and the businesses that are coming up, that you will do it so that you are being a blessing with the best quality and giftedness that God has given you. We hope to see you back next week. And Larry, is there any closing remarks you would like to give?
Two things. I just want to bless the people in 5 seconds. So if you just reach out in faith at this time, I just want to bless you. Father in heaven, I thank you so much for this opportunity to be able to Zoom hope and infuse blessing within different contexts. Oh God, I pray that you will continue to bless and enlarge the coast and the territory of the Sawyers, the Hinds, and the Johnsons, and even all our viewers, those on Facebook, those on YouTube. Oh God, bless each family, bless children. And we pray, oh God, that even in this time of pandemic, where there's so many worries, so many challenges, so many economical conditions that are just deteriorating every day. Father, I ask that you will give hope, you will give boldness, so that we will do the work, and oh God, we will reap the benefit of success. Thank you, oh God, for this evening, and bless your people, bless London, and bless myself and our families. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Right, so can you believe it? We are at the end of another exciting episode of Zoom Hope Live. I know that you enjoyed it. We had a good time, right, London?
Yes. We had a good time, and we're encouraged just by the very presence of our panelists.
Yes. So until next week, we are coming back with a part 2 of music. And I know you have been looking forward to that. So just pray on it, and we will be right here on Zoom Hope Live next week. So until then, keep it locked. I am your host, Larry Green, and
I am your co-host, D. London Anderson.
All right, until next week, take care and be safe.
I've tried it all, my fight is more like a crow. Yeah, I've been broken and I've been hurting. Yeah, I keep searching, but self-help ain't working.